Hello from Northwest Ohio, one of the strongholds of college football in America. We're coming to you from inside Doyt Perry Stadium, getting set for the University of North Dakota's Week 2 opponent, the Falcons of Bowling Green State University. Alongside Tom Miller of the Grand Forks Herald, I'm Alex Heinert. And Tom, both of these teams come into this contest sporting a loss on their record. 0-1 last week for both Bowling Green and UND. Let's talk about the Fighting Hawks first. North Dakota, a tough trip out to Long Island, a 13-9 defeat at the hands of Stony Brook. What were your biggest takeaways from that opening season loss to the Seawolves?
You know, I think maybe we kind of glossed over a little too easily the fact that they were starting 4 fresh offensive linemen, along with A.J. Stockwell, kind of the experienced one of the group. But a lot of first starts. You look at last year and you had Brandon Anderson and Sean Meehan, and those guys are 4-year starters or 3-year starters. So, first game under their belt, maybe that wasn't looked at close enough by people placing high expectations on UND.
Stony Brook on the front line got after Keaton Sudsrud, 4 sacks allowed by that front 5 for North Dakota. You could see he was under pressure for much of the game, never really got in the rhythm, at least until the fourth quarter. Then he picked up his game. We saw the Sudsrud that maybe we've come to expect for this North Dakota team. Coming into today, do you feel like he's the kind of guy that can handle an FBS opponent like Bowling Green?
Well, I think it depends on kind of the makeup of the game, but you have Wyoming last year, so you've seen how Keaton can perform in a game of this manner, and I think he's got to build off that 7-for-8 performance. You gotta wonder if his internal clock was sped up a little bit last week when he was facing maybe pressure that he wasn't facing last year.
UND now enters this game with a really tough opponent on the other side. This is the defending MAC champions, a team that's made it to the MAC title game the last 3 seasons in Bowling Green. A completely different opponent. Stony Brook wanted to grind you down and play great defense. Bowling Green wants to put the ball up in the air as much as they possibly can.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't stack the box against Bowling Green like maybe you would against Stony Brook. They're going to throw the ball around and they're going to get their yards. You just have to, try to make sure you get your stops on third down, you get your stops in the red zone, because they're going to complete some passes.
Yeah, UND, a very good defensive team, as we've said a lot. Again, showed that last week, but this is a team that averaged 42 points a game last season. They're coming off, obviously, a huge defeat against a national title contender in Ohio State, 77-10, but we expect a little bit of a different outcome perhaps today. This is a much better Bowling Green team than they showed last week against the Buckeyes.
Yeah, I think just like UND is trying to figure some things out here early in the season, Bowling Green's got a lot of question marks with some new guys in places, and a track record of success for this program. So you would expect that UND is going to face a pretty tough test. I don't think anybody's putting a lot of stock into the 67-point defeat last week.
What does UND need to do today to be successful, Tom, against this Bowling Green team?
I think they need to get John Santiago, get him some seams and get him open into some space. He didn't forget how to run. He's still one of the top running backs in the country at the FCS level, and I just think he needs some more space, and he's got to get going because this offense is built around the fact that he can run the football. So it's going to open up the passing game, and it'll be interesting to see. John Santiago had some really impressive 3-yard runs last week, I thought. He just didn't have a whole lot to work with. So I'm curious to see how Bowling Green is able to stop the run.
First time last week for Santiago that he didn't go over 100 yards since week 2 of his freshman season against North Dakota State. We would expect maybe a bounce-back game from him today, obviously, against a pretty good defense on the other side of the football. You talk a little bit about the passing game trying to get going. They'll do so today without Clive Georges, a big loss, maybe the biggest loss out of that Stony Brook game, losing your star wide receiver to a broken leg out for the season. How do they overcome that?
Yeah, I think it's going to just open up some opportunities. Travis Toivonen will have an expanded role, a true freshman from Red Wing, and Noah Wanzik, a freshman from Jamestown, might see some more action, and maybe we get our first kind of glimpse at Demond Mercer there. The transfer wide receiver didn't get a chance really to play last week, and maybe he's more in the mix this week. But it's a big loss because Clive can take the top off of defense, and that's a big thing for North Dakota because you got to keep defenses honest with the deep ball.
We'll see how UND does handle the loss of Clive Georges today. A lot of talent in those ranks, maybe not the speed that we're used to seeing from the outside with Clive. It's going to be an interesting matchup. I think both of these teams come into this contest with a totally different mindset than what they had last week. For you, just quickly, North Dakota, what would be termed a success today against this FBS opponent?
I think to see some positives offensively, to see that offensive line kind of come together and create some holes for John Santiago. I mean, as far as points, I think if you got to try to keep it in single digits and stay away from allowing pass-happy offense that North Dakota struggled with in the past a little bit. Idaho State is an example last year that they struggled with. So kind of limiting that huge passing game and getting the ground game going a little bit.
A couple things to watch for here coming up. Kickoff is just moments away, really, here from Bowling Green, Ohio. For Tom Miller, I'm Alex Heinert. We'll wrap it all up coming up on Tuesday night on UND Sports Extra. Thanks for watching.